Hey, welcome to Crashing the Pearly Zoom, our off-day Zoom meeting. We're recording this on the night of Monday, August 3rd. 10 games into the season, and it's August. Yeah, it's that crazy 2020 season. A lot of big news for the Angels organization. Despite going 3-7, they're only 2.5 games out. I've got Brent Maguire, Rahul Setty, and Jeffrey Tan from Crashing the Pearly Gates. I'm Rev Halofan, and the best Angels fan site for news and community is Crashing the Pearly Gates. We just did our 10th game thread. Over 600 people or 600 comments on that game thread. It was a rowdy, fun time. So let's get started. The big news today was, I'm not a doctor. I don't know the difference between a forearm strain and a sprain, but it's Shohei Ohtani had a terrible outing again. And now he has a forearm sprain, strain, owie, mommy needs to kiss it. I don't know. Let's talk about Shohei's future with the organization. Brent Maguire, take it away.
So if we backtrack to when the Angels signed Ohtani in the first place, we knew that he had an arm issue. We knew that Tommy John was probably in the books for him. So we saw everything kind of go as planned. We saw the Tommy John surgery after 2018, took 2019 off, was just hitting, and then he came back this year. And while we all expected it, to happen, the Tommy John surgery, it's got to feel a little disappointing that 2 starts in post Tommy John surgery that he's got another arm issue that's going to cost him the rest of the year. So we're sitting in a position right now where Ohtani's only going to have 53 innings in the first 3 years. And that just doesn't feel like a lot of innings for a guy who was supposed to be progressing into this frontline starting pitcher. And I know it's already being floated on social media and across Angels websites, people asking, is it time to pull the plug on Ohtani as a pitcher? And I don't think we should be doing that right now. I think it's a question we explore again next year at some point if these arm issues continue. But we're looking at a guy that can be an impact pitcher, an impact DH. I think you try to do this as long as you can. The Angels, the rest of the roster hasn't been great anyways. It's kind of like you can keep experimenting with them. So I say you go into 2021, see if the pitching thing works. If he gets hurt one more time, maybe you start to explore some other options. Maybe you explore different ways to use him as a pitcher that doesn't necessarily include him being in the rotation. I don't know if I have the answer for this. I don't think anybody does, because Ohtani's doing something that's hasn't been done since Babe Ruth. So it's a tough question. I don't have the answer for it, but it's a bummer that he's not going to be pitching the rest of this year.
Rahul, do you have the answer?
I don't. I think Zach Wheeler has experienced a similar situation as Ohtani. He had a Tommy John surgery, and when he came back, he ended up experiencing, a flexor sprain. And if you look at Zach Wheeler now, he's obviously tremendous. He's recovered from that. I think this injury is one of the more common complications of Tommy John surgery. I'm not a doctor, obviously. Wish I was. I wouldn't be here. But I think it is not out of the question for Shohei Ohtani to come back and continue blossoming into the player that we know he can be. That being said, I don't think that is the most likely outcome at this point, but I don't think it's time to pull the plug until we give him another chance to show us that he can't be that guy. And look, this is injury number 3, arm injury number 3, in addition to the blister since he's put on Angel uniform. It's too many injuries. We all know that. We don't know if this is the organization that is able to harness the pitching prowess that we know he can produce. And so to me, it's tough. What do you do? I don't have the answer.
Jeffrey Tan, say again?
I don't have the answer, and I don't think anyone does.
Well, let's find out if Jeffrey Tan does. Jeffrey, you go to Vegas, you have $100,000 burning a hole in your pocket to bet at the sports book. You're going to bet it on a Super Bowl winner, but then you see over under 10 innings Ohtani will pitch in the 2021 season, if it happens. Where are you putting your money?
Oh, I think definitely he's going to pitch 10 innings in 2021, Rev. I would put all my money on the over.
Whoa.
If this question is is kind of interesting in a nutshell. You know that Ohtani can be a good hitter. You know that having his bat in the lineup every day would be an asset to the team. But on the other hand, he has shown flashes of ace-like stuff. When he initially came into the league in 2017, those outings were amazing. And if this was a different team, a team like the Cleveland Indians, where they had all the pitching, they have an amazing pipeline, pitchers just grow on trees for them, but they're more offensively challenged, then maybe you do have that discussion. And maybe you do say, hey, it's 2020. We've had 3 years of this experiment, and let's pull the plug right now because he's more valuable to us as a corner outfielder or a first baseman. But the fact is, as Rahul mentioned, this organization is terrible at developing pitchers. And I think that because of that fact, you just cannot tell Ohtani that he can't pitch anymore. Brent mentioned, yeah.
The team needs him too much.
Yeah, definitely. I think even in the most pessimistic projections for this year, people still had Ohtani penciled in as the quote-unquote ace of the staff. They didn't know if he'd produce ace-like stuff, but they still – exactly. They still expected him to pitch innings, pitch every week. And Brent mentioned that there's less and less time for him to develop as a pitcher. My opinion is as long as he's healthy, he's going to be a good, if not great pitcher. And for him to take that next step would be amazing, obviously. But I just don't see, if he's healthy, I think his floor is too high. You saw in 2017 what he could deliver, having not gone through a whole season in Major League Baseball, having only his Japanese experience. And I think that as long as he's healthy, he should get the opportunity to pitch. You look at the Angels team, they have no pitching. They have, if Ohtani is converted to a full-time hitter, it would likely be in an outfield position or at first base. And the truth is, this team simply has too many of those positions at those positions. Pujols' contract for another couple of years. Justin Upton, whose contract is becoming more and more like an albatross. And obviously Mike Trout, along with the prospects, Adell and Marsh. It just seems not to be in the team's best interest to pull the plug right now. And I would say even if 2021 doesn't work out, I still wouldn't pull the plug at that point because of his years of control and because the ceiling is too high on Ohtani as a two-way player.
Doubling down. Okay. Hey, it's we're taping this on the off day, Monday, August 3rd. Tomorrow the Angels play in Seattle, and they've added a player to their roster that we've all been anticipating for quite a long time. He was the number 10 overall pick, our first pick in the 2017 draft, Joe Adell. Rahul, tell us, what should we expect from Joe Adell?
Well, I will defer to someone else in terms of the stats he can provide, but I expect him to play close to every day, if not every day. I think the Angels would not have called him up if he wasn't going to get regular reps. And I think that Joe Adell will be extremely similar to how Justin Upton was when he was called up. A lot of doubles, a lot of home runs, a lot of speed on the bases, pretty good defense, covers a lot of ground. I think Joe Adell will be one of the Angels' most exciting players on the field. And I think Angels fans should savor every moment they can get of him.
And there's an irony in that he may be replacing or at least putting Justin Upton on the bench a lot more, though, right? Exactly.
Actually, if you look at Adell and Upton swings, they're almost exactly similar. The only difference is where they hold the bat in their hand. Adell is more upright, and then Justin Upton is more slanted back towards him. Wow. Very similar. Jeffrey, you a Joe Adell fan or ready to be one?
I am, as most Angels fans. I don't understand why you would be an Angels fan and hate on Joe Adell. I just don't know if he can deliver the type of production that all Angels fans are hoping for that can be a difference maker in this season. If you look at his AAA numbers last year, he was expected to rake in Salt Lake City, especially with the juiced ball and the type of numbers that the PCL in general was putting up. But he did struggle a little bit, and there hasn't been anything that he has shown. Obviously, he's gone through spring training and he's gone through the summer camp that the Angels had. But I actually didn't expect to see him in 2020 before the whole pandemic situation. Obviously, now everything has changed and he's not going to be playing if he's not in the major league lineup. So we'll see what happens. This year, I expect him to play probably 60 to 70% of the games the rest of the way. I know that every time the lineup card goes up and Adell is not in the lineup, the fans will be frustrated, but that's just what I see from Madden, from the whole organization. There's just too many players playing at positions at which Adell can play. You have Upton, who, is eventually going to go on a streak, and one can say that his annual hot streak, which pushes his yearly numbers to a respectable total, is not that helpful to the team as a whole. But the fact of the matter is the team will be counting on him, and he'll get every chance, even more so than he probably deserves, to prove that he belongs in the lineup. Mike Trout doesn't seem like he's opting out at this point. He posted his usual airplane emoji, Seattle, so we'll probably see him in the lineup tomorrow. And Brian Goodwin, who was a great success last year and has proved himself through 10 games this year, one of the most productive hitters in the Angels lineup. I just don't see how you can get Adell into the lineup every day, especially with all these other players. As for the production, I think he'll start off decently well, maybe an 800 to 900 OPS, which would be awesome. But as has been mentioned, he does have a lot of swing and miss in his game. And as pitchers get more tape on him, as they get the opportunity to consult with major league hitting coaches, I think he'll tail off at the end of the year, which will make his overall stats still respectable with his hot early start. But he'll have to do some work, adjust to major league pitching, and come back strong in the future. That's what I see for Adell in 2020.
Brent, we're 3-7, and right now we don't qualify for the playoffs. If the playoffs started today, which, considering the COVID, it might. Hey, Brent, do we just give up in a way? I mean, giving up putting this great hitter Adell to just season him and put him in there for 50 games, and if he tanks, we just stick with him just to give him that development time. Is that worth it for future postseasons, 2021, 2022, etc.?
So that's the $1 million question. So you have to ask yourself, are you going to put...
Do I get a check?
Adell...
Wait, I asked the $1 million question. Do I get a check? Okay, sorry.
We'll find out a later date. So the question you have to ask yourself is, so you're calling up Adell right now. So there's clearly an intent to play him and to see what he's going to do. But is he going to be put out there every single day to kind of blossom into that star that we are projecting him to be? I'm hoping the answer is yes. I know Brian Goodwin's done well. Obviously, Trout's in center field. I know Justin Upton's got his contract, but we're in this weird timeline right now where Joe Adell's got a chance to be up in the major leagues for 40, 50 games, and he's got a chance to really show not only what he can do, but really kind of go through those growing pains that every single rookie's going to go through. And Jeffrey kind of alluded to it. Like, Adell had struggles last year. He was a 20-year-old that made it to AAA, and he struck out a lot. So in a perfect world, we would have seen Adell sitting in AAA to start the season, work through his issues, and then come to the major leagues. Obviously, that was not realistic. That was not going to happen. So now Adell's in this weird spot where he was kind of just waiting on the sidelines, waiting for the Angels to call him up, and he's been playing in these summer camp games at Long Beach State, but, like, they're not real games, so he hasn't had that true seasoning to get ready. So I'm fascinated to see what he's going to do. I don't know what he's going to do because everything about this season is so weird, and because Joe Adell was supposed to be getting that time in the minor leagues to get ready for the majors. In that scenario, maybe he would have produced right now, but I don't know. The skills are through the roof. Everybody loves this guy. He's a consensus top 5 prospect. The stats are there. The pedigree's there. Everything is there for him to be a really good player. I just hope that fans will temper their expectations a little bit because the guy hasn't played in a lot of games. He needed seasoning, and he's basically being thrust into the major league roster right now at this weird time. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited to see him. Not sure what's going to happen.
By the way, I think we should mention that almost every level that Adell has been promoted to, he struggles initially. Then he makes adjustments very quickly, figures it out. He's always known to be a very cerebral, intelligent player, and makes very quick adjustments. He's always been praised for that, almost consensus by scouts. So I think that should be noted and in consideration.
I think, do we sacrifice what should be an easy jump into a roulette wheel postseason, do we sacrifice that by having a rookie using development ABs? I mean, where do we go with this?
Yeah, so if Adell is out producing Justin Upton, then you're asking yourself, are we going to play this rookie over this guy that's got a really big contract? And, you know, I'm curious to see what Joe Madden does. He's clearly shown this propensity to play everybody that's at his disposal. So I'm assuming Adell's going to get plenty of opportunities, but like you kind of mentioned, it's going to be interesting to see, are they going to put this rookie out there every single day to work through his struggles, or are they going to pull the plug really quick? I don't know.
If I'm not mistaken, Justin Upton has a lower on base plus slugging than, you know, Anthony Rendon's OBP.
Ouch, 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 ouch.
So I think when we talk about, you know, is his struggles going to be detrimental to the team, I think we have to look at the opportunity cost and who he's really replacing. Because Justin Upton consistently gets high leverage plate appearances and has not been able to cash runners in. And that's a problem.
Okay. Last topic, and really quick. We've gone a lot over than the books all say you should. The books, old man. Okay, the website say you should do on a Zoomcast. But hey, real quick, 10 words or less. We'll start with you, Jeffrey. How do we fix the bullpen?
Leave it as it is. Regression to the mean will help this team a lot. And as Madden further develops his usages, as relievers figure out, I know we don't like the word roles, but as relievers know and become more comfortable in them, the bullpen will be fine. It won't be a top bullpen, but it won't be blowing every other game.
Brent?
Fix Hansel Robles? I mean, everything that we saw last year is not there right now, and trying to give him the benefit of the doubt because everything is so weird, but he's throwing slower, he's not striking guys out, he's walking guys. It's ugly.
Rahul?
I think you cross your fingers and hope and pray.
Oh, I do that every game now.
Exactly, right? It's not anything different then. Look, I think the Angels have a bunch of relievers. None of them are spectacular. None of them are standout. And you kind of get what you pay for. And, you know, the Angels prioritized putting their assets elsewhere and not focusing on the bullpen. And you're seeing the results of that this season.
But there's no, I mean, Craig Kimbrell signed and he's terrible. You know, that's supposedly a great bullpen investment. Bullpens they're kind of.
Sure. You can say that bullpens are fickle, and they are, but you have to, you know, pick up guys with the underlying skills that can turn into something. And right now, I'm not seeing what the Angels saw in these relievers to go ahead and make an investment and build a bullpen around them.
So no Cy Young for Ryan Buchter, even though he has 2 of our 3 wins.
I'm afraid not.
I'll leave it at that. It was a rough first 10 games, but we'll do this again soon. And remember that you can read us all on Crashing the Pearly Gates. Thanks, guys.